You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steeler Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson with you here for the next 2 hours on a Friday.
Yeah, let's go, dude.
I'm fired up. You and I both. And I got some energy in here today. I'm loving it. And Matt, we actually have
sandwich feedback.
We got some sandwich feedback. Matt's still going with all his mustard on a day-to-day basis. And actually, in kind of what is a light content time of the year now, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about
right,
today.
I'm game.
I love a Good Friday show to get us out of here for the weekend, and I think we will have one of those today on Friday, May 8th. Matt, today is a pretty significant date in my life for a few reasons.
May 8th, okay.
May 8th be with you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's not why. The first, two very important people in my life. Today is their birthday.
Oh, no kidding.
Number one, Bill Cowher, of course, former Steelers head coach.
Okay. You guys are close.
And Super Bowl champion, very important in my life.
Okay. That's your era, yeah.
Just slightly ahead of another very important person whose birthday is today, my mom. I'm just kidding. All right, mom number one, Cowher number two.
Okay.
But my mom turns Swiss on Swiss. I don't know. If she's a loyal listener, she might not like me throwing that out there. But my mom turns Swiss on Swiss today.
It's a magical age.
66 today. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to my mom.
Love it.
We've got a nice fun dinner planned tonight with the whole family and everything.
I would think Mama's birthday once in a while falls on Mother's Day.
It does.
That's happened. Double whammy.
That's happened a couple times, which can be both a blessing and a curse because I guess it's pretty cool. But then you got to have your
mom
cake,
only gets one present or whatever.
Too, it's kind of like being born on Christmas.
Exactly.
It's almost like you'd like to spread the wealth a little bit there. But
I was born on June 6th, Suisse en Suisse.
Suisse en Suisse.
And sometimes you get out of school on your birthday.
Now you're talking.
If you're like 8 years old,
cranking the schools out forever. That is awesome. That is fantastic. So happy birthday to my mom. Happy birthday to Bill Cowher. Also today, Matt, the third significant date is 49 years ago today. The Grateful Dead played one of the best live shows of all time at Cornell University. Oh. A show so good, it's archived in the National Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., 49 years ago today.
Okay.
A lot people ask me from time to time, people my age, I want to get into the Grateful Dead. It's such a large catalog. Where do I start? And that's typically one of the places that I point them to, along with American Beauty and Working Man's Dead, two of their classic 70s albums.
Sure.
So May 8th, a big deal to me for a lot of different special reasons.
And those two albums, you'll hear on DVE, that type of stuff. You won't hear the concerts ever.
Right.
But that is probably a great place to start, considering they're the epic live band.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So just wanted to get that out there to start.
5'8".
Happy birthday to my mom. Happy birthday to Bill Cowher. And happy anniversary, 49 years, to one of the great live shows played in the history of American rock and roll. Matt, we also have, I think, some significant news around the league, beginning with something that we've speculated and said was coming soon, but we now know. Next Thursday, May 14th at 7:30 p.m., the NFL schedule will be released across the league.
I just saw that on the way here. So that's cool. I thought it'd be a little longer from now.
Same here. I thought it would be the following week, but
the last 8 or 10 years or whatever, I've done a live show exactly when it comes out at 7 p.m. or whatever, and we react organically to it. Mm-hmm. And that's a fun hour. I assume I'll be doing that again. I haven't heard, but that's a good time.
It is. Yeah. It's funny how it works out because I'm off next Friday for my sister's college graduation.
Yeah.
So, and what would have been one of the easiest content days of the year for us, I won't be here. But hey, that's the way she goes.
We'll figure it out.
During the off season. We will figure it out. But 7:30 next Thursday, the 14th, 6 days from now, is when we will know for sure what the Steelers' schedule looks like. Via Adam Schefter, the international games will all be announced on Wednesday. So
I think they did that last year, too.
I think it's 9 international games, I want to say, this year, I think is the magic number, which is, that's really...
We know the Steelers aren't one.
The Steelers are not, by all credible reports, the Steelers are not one. There was some, could they play the Jags away? Could that game end up being in London? But by all credible reports and everything, it sounds like that's not going to be the case. The Steelers will be staying stateside in 2026.
I only said that because I thought you couldn't go 2 years in a row unless you're the Jags, but I guess that's not true. I guess it is possible that it could have happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's interesting.
I threw it out there just thinking, there's no chance that they're going to be one of the international teams, but I guess there is still a 0.01%.
I don't think it's a non-zero chance, but everything
I don't think it's likely.
I don't think it's likely, which would make it probably very likely that in 2027 the Steelers are playing a game out of the country. But that's
probably
different conversation for a different day. Schedule release this coming Thursday, 6 days from now, May 14th at 7:30 p.m.
Cool.
Pretty significant piece of news. Also, Matt, a pretty significant piece of news that came across the timeline this afternoon. Something we've mentioned a couple times during the offseason, and we talked about pretty extensively a little over a month ago at the end of March when you and I were out at the owners' meetings. The agreement between the Referees Association and the NFL. The CBA, right, between the referees and the NFL that we knew was due to be re-upped. Well, the NFL Referees Association ratified a new 7-year collective bargaining agreement this afternoon with the NFL, concluding negotiations and eliminating the possibility of a work stoppage prior to the 2026 season.
Awesome.
Full details of the agreement not immediately available, but the NFL...
Yeah, and I don't think we even care about the full agreement. I don't care how much you're getting paid or what their days off or their benefits are,
All that this means on the surface is that we will not have another replacement ref situation. This won't even go to the 11th hour, into August. It is done now. 7-year CBA between the NFL and the Referees Association.
Cool.
Fantastic.
I think what we said that stuck with me most when we were mentioning this at the owners' meetings was, selfishly, I just don't want to talk about it. I'm just glad it went away. I don't want to. What about the refs? I don't need those questions. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want it anywhere on my mind. Now, I don't think the reffing situation is perfect. I think it's an extremely difficult sport to referee, but they've made a lot of changes and, whatever. I mean, good. We got the best guys and women handling this situation. So I'm glad we don't have to talk about it for 7 more years, apparently.
Same here. And kind of this is probably on the back burner. This is not at the forefront of a replacement ref situation, but the current CBA, the last CBA, expired at the end of this month.
Okay.
You and I know a lot of times at minicamp and certainly at training camp, there's days where the NFL referees come to Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a really valuable resource for players. I think especially for young players who are making that transition from the college football to the NFL rules. And, of course, for coaching staffs, too, you're running through drills, and the referee will throw a flag for holding or for pass interference or for illegal man downfield. And unlike in a game where it's right on to the next play, the players or the coaches can go over to the referee and say, hey, what'd you see there? What was I doing wrong? Okay, your hand placement was here, and it should, we're
going to call hold on that most of the time.
It's really the one opportunity in the NFL calendar for coaches and players to have conversations with the referees. What'd you see there? Why'd you call that? What should I have done differently? Why was that too much contact downfield?
Yeah.
Why was
DPIs, things like that.
Why was this rep holding?
Especially for rookie corners, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Especially for rookie corners, for rookie offensive linemen, all those different things. If the CBA would have still been up in the air, those referees would not be there for the offseason programs.
That's big.
That's a valuable resource for the coaching staffs and for the players, just to have conversations and get on the same page with a lot of these referees that they're going to be seeing throughout the regular season and the playoffs.
So you mentioned a lot of the stuff that they actually do on the field when they're doing football stuff. But previous to that or after that, when those refs are in town, they sit down and they present themselves to, I think, probably the coaches separately and then the coaches and teams together, too. And they'll say things like, hey, you know how there's always a emphasis on things every year? They tell them pretty clearly, like, okay, last year you got away with this, but there's going to be a stronger emphasis on holding or whatever it is, offsides or tackles.
Rub routes.
Yeah, exactly. Pick routes. Your tackles can't line up as far off the line of scrimmage or whatever. So now we're going to start calling it, like I'm warning you now, I'm telling you in advance. And there's, I'm just throwing this out there, but there's like, how I'm into like Brandon Thorne and the offensive line community and trying to learn from those guys as much as possible. There's a technique that's become a lot more popular, especially with offensive tackles, but with offensive linemen in general, where it's a snatch grab technique where they use 2 hands and they basically throw the guy down right in front of you. And the league calls that holding a lot. And all the O-line purists, like if you have Lane Johnson, he's like, that was perfect. That is how you do it. That is not, there's a discrepancy right now about that if you really dig into the weeds. you hope you get those things ironed out. Like, is it going to be a penalty or not, Coach? You know, like, I'm not going to do it if I'm just going to get called.
It's important.
Yeah,
it's
that
the
kind of
only
stuff.
time in the calendar that you have a chance to have level-headed conversations with the referees, not screaming and yelling at each other on the field for 12 seconds before the next play.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is very important. So I'm glad, obviously, that we're not going to have to talk about this into August or see it transpire in September, but I think that's an important...
I hadn't thought of that angle about them, all the preseason stuff, them coming to town and all the stuff that happens behind the scenes and on the field. That's real valuable.
It is. It certainly is. And then the last piece of news, Matt, that I just wanted to kick around at the start of the show here is a name that we've talked about a little bit, Spears-Jennings, wide receiver.
I thought you were going to say Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. I think we've done enough of
once
that.
Once in a while we talked about him, yeah.
Conflicting reports on if Aaron's actually going to be here this weekend. I don't know if we need to dig into that too much right now.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah. If Matt and I see him walking around, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Spears-Jennings, 1 year, up to $13 million deal with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, good player, chain mover. I had thrown his name out. You know, we'd mentioned yesterday the biggest hole remaining on the Steelers would be maybe one more receiver, and I thought he was the best option available. Now, he's extremely redundant to what the Steelers have now, too, because he's really a chain mover, middle of the field, not super versatile, but more of a slot, big-bodied guy, good football player. But Minnesota's quietly pretty good. Like if
Kyler Murray has a little rejuvenation, they could be a contender.
Yeah, and their 3 receiver sets now are Jefferson, Addison, and Jennings for at least this year. Throw in Hawkinson in that mix, and that's starting to come together for me on offense.
I guess not unfortunately. It's not like I have any beef with the Vikings, and it's not like they play in the AFC or anything, but I think they could be one of those sneaky, not worst to first, because as we talked about yesterday, it was actually the Lions via tiebreaker who finished last in that division. But I think the Vikings could be one of those teams that
rebound year
in a big way.
Just 2 years ago, they won 14 or 15 games. You know?
They were a game against the Lions away from being the number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, they were
in the last week of the season. So yeah, interesting bit of business there for the Vikings, and I do think if Kyler Murray or J.J. McCarthy, I guess hasn't. I don't think it's likely, but that ship hasn't completely sailed.
I think Wentz is on the team still too.
I think he might be. Right, yeah, if they can kind of get some stability at quarterback, they're looking pretty good. Otherwise,
I see the vision there at least.
Speaking of roster construction and teams that are looking pretty good, The Athletic, Matt, put out today a projection model, analytically based, on all 32 rosters, power ranking them across the NFL.
Yeah.
I want to take a look at that when we return.
Cool.
Who's at the top? Where do the Steelers slide in? Do we agree? Do we disagree? As we continue to get rolling here on this Friday. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. The NFL Draft, of course, in the books. Great success a couple weeks ago here on the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And with that now, Matt, a lot of these, like we've done over-under totals and strength of schedule and some of those projections now that free agency, the rosters are mostly intact.
Yeah. There's some good players looming, but,
Sure.
Right.
A.J. Brown's going to move at some point here, and it was we continue to say.
Somebody,
absolutely.
Right. Jennings signed today.
And with that, one of the things that I wanted us to take a look at today, The Athletic, Austin Mock of The Athletic put out.
I think he's one of their analytics guys.
He's one of their analytics guys. And so these are not necessarily his opinions. These are analytically based projections ranking the rosters across the National Football League.
Yeah, I think this will be fun.
Number one, at least in your and I eyes, I don't think this is a surprise because we've continued to say we think they should be the favorite. It is the L.A. Rams.
Yes, I think they would be my number one roster as well.
And what's crazy to me, too, is this is all, again, this is not opinion. This is analytically based.
Yeah, right.
And that's where basically they use their first-round pick as a stash guy for the future.
And they didn't even use, he doesn't really help at all.
Imagine if they would have added Mekhi Lemon or someone like that to the fold.
Now, MVP-level quarterback, well above average O-line, excellent weapons, I would say, now an insanely deep group of tight ends. D-line's always been the strength of the defense, and the back seven's been real suspect. But the secondary now is really good. People think they're like, they use this first-round pick on Simpson, and they're not. I thought they'd attack the offseason more. You're not paying attention to the secondary.
Yeah.
They went crazy in the secondary.
They sure did.
Yeah.
They sure did. And number two on this list, Matt, maybe a little surprising to me, but I think they still should. I would have expected them to be towards the top. The Seattle Seahawks, defending Super Bowl champions.
Okay. I'll be honest. I'm not even sure who 3 and 4 are, but I don't know that any of these are. Whoa, this is a powerhouse, blow me away.
Besides maybe
roster.
the Rams,
right?
Like,
yeah. I don't know that there's just someone that. Holy smokes, we haven't seen a team like this in a while.
It's not the Eagles of 3 years ago.
Yeah,
it's not the Chiefs of 5 years ago.
There's definitely been some in recent memory that were way stronger than the top of this group.
Number 3 really surprises me. The Buffalo Bills.
Ooh, I'm not there at all.
He says that the analytic models give them a ton of credit because of Josh Allen, but
he might be the first pick overall if we were picking from a pool of every player. I mean, him or Mahomes, or But man, the rest of
their
group
defense is aside from the offensive line is good.
Yeah, the offensive line's good. The running game's
very good.
Cook is good,
but their receivers leave a lot to be desired, and their defense they don't have any special talents on there. They've got a lot of B-level players on their defense.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but their owner Pagula also owns the Buffalo Sabres,
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And the Sabres are not a particularly successful organization over the last 10, 15
now
years,
they're in the second round of the playoffs right now, and
they've gotten better
and won their division, but they just went 14 years without making the playoffs.
Okay, and I'm not just blaming Mr. Pagula or whatever.
Maybe 16 years without making the playoffs. They were one of the worst organizations
I thought they were
over the last
feeder.
2 decades in the NHL. Yeah.
I worry about the Bills. I mean, choosing the GM over the head coach, all the subsequent moves they've made. We did an AFC East draft breakdown today on our six-pack show, and I wasn't real blown away with the draft. It's kind of more of the same. It's a bunch of rotational players. They made a lot of picks, but not much splash. All their defensive ends, like Epinesa, or like the dude from Clemson they just drafted, they're all heavier edge setters, not real dynamic players. All their receivers are really slot-first guys, and they're drafted another one in Bell. They just keep kind of making the same mistakes over and over. I don't love their roster.
I don't either. I was very surprised to see them at number 3.
Allen carries insane weight.
And maybe that makes sense why Tiz number 4 is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay. I mean, so we are talking analytics. So I would imagine, and I have not looked at this, but Baltimore, Cincinnati should be pretty close then as well. I mean, just talking about big-time quarterbacks. New England, I don't know if they're factoring in age, like is May worth more than Stafford? I think they're just going for this year. I think it's
just for this year.
Okay. So I get that. I mean, no one's going to argue that Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, I mean, these guys are massively valuable and raise the entire roster dramatically. And this is exercise I'm sure is going to hurt the Steelers.
I would think so. I would think so. The
Chiefs still have some holes.
They do. Big year for Mahomes listen, his legacy is already ironclad. Mm-hmm. He's multiple-time MVP. He's got 3 Super Bowl rings. He could retire today and go to Canton.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's an all-time great already.
But this is a big year for his legacy because
I agree.
If he can kind of get them back to the top with so much overhaul and so much change and coming off of a big injury.
Yeah. And the Chiefs were down last year, and it ended worse than it started, too. Like, I can't wait for Warren Sharp's book to come out, too, because speaking of analytics, there are going to be so many bounce-back factors for the Chiefs. Like, they were terrible in one-score games. Everything fell apart at the end after Mahomes, and they shut things down. And, I think even, opponents' field goal percentage, no one missed a kick against the Chiefs. It was just a planets colliding in a bad way for Kansas City.
Yeah.
And no one's feeling bad for them after 7 years in a row where you go to the AFC Championship game.
Sure.
Before that.
Sure.
I mean, that's not too shabby. But it was probably a one-off year. Unless they're 8-9 again this year, then maybe the king is dead,
Maybe. Speaking of the king being dead, it's a real crossroads for this team at number 5, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Strong roster,
Top 10 according to the analytics, top 10 offensive line, top 10 defensive line, and one of the league's best secondaries.
I agree with all that. I love their linebackers, Bond and those dudes. A.J. Brown's currently on the team.
They did say that, too, that this factors in A.J. Brown in there, so they would probably slip down a few spots if and when likely he's
especially
traded.
if he turns into a draft pick and not a player, which is likely. Mm-hmm. Saquon's still scary as can be. And even without Brown, it's a good group of pass catchers. I mean, assuming Lemon is a contributor right away, which he should be.
Number 6 is the L.A. Chargers. Strong offensive line.
I say the O-line's a good start.
Strong quarterback
awesome
rating.
Quarterback, yeah.
And the rest of their position groups rate, slightly above average in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, real terrible spots.
That's basically what it says.
Yeah. Strong quarterback, good O-line. That's a great place to start. No holes.
7, the Denver Broncos, adding Jalen Waddle pushes them into the top 10. They have a top 5 offensive line analytically.
I would say top 3 defense,
and
probably.
And a very highly rated defense.
Okay.
Yep.
And Waddle is kind of the missing piece here.
Number 8, the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, I thought they might be 2 or 3, and I'd have a problem with that.
Yes, basically saying that, the offensive line comes up a little short, the wide receivers come up a little short, but Lamar Jackson still adds a lot of weight, and their defense, analytically, when you have, Kyle Hamilton and Trey Hendrickson, gets a nice bump there.
Now, this is going to be true for several players around the league, and I'm not an analytics master. I reference them a lot, but I'm not a mathematician. I have no idea, because I think something that not enough people are talking about, and maybe they already know this answer, is the Matabuke status. So, if we're pretending these are Madden ratings, and Matabuke's, when healthy, is a 92 out of 100, well, that carries a lot of weight. But if he's not able to play, or he's a shell of himself,
he's a 72
70
out of 100.
then that's a big difference to that defense to me,
And same church, different pew, Matt, the Green Bay Packers at number 9. But this is kind of assuming that Micah Parsons doesn't miss too much time.
Because his injury is not like a Matabuke's or a Broderick Jones that has ended careers before. Yes. I mean, necks and things like that are different than knees nowadays,
Number 10, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
They're another one that I don't see massive strengths, but I also don't see, boy, the secondary's a disaster, or the O-line's no good, or, right.
Basically says that if you're good at quarterback, wide receiver, and edge rusher, the model really favors you. And the Jags are good to slightly above average at those positions.
And I think Lawrence is turning a corner. He's going to be
out of the woods,
high-quality player,
Number 11, it's the 49ers.
Yes, great strengths.
Yeah, but there's some health questions there,
that's
too.
That's what I say, too, though. Their top dudes are all returning from injuries, or when are they returning from injuries? In, the case of Kittle, but no Bosa, no Warner last year. I assume they'll be awesome when they come back, but we always assume all that stuff this time of year because it's optimism season, right?
In similar conversation with number 12, the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
The model
That's
really,
a high-quality
roster. Model really favors Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay. The rest of the roster has some really good, even elite players on defense, and Aiden Hutchinson, Jack Campbell, and Brian Branch.
Yeah.
But again, though, are Jack Campbell or Brian Branch, how healthy are they?
Yeah. Interior lines, so.
Yep.
I would say above average quarterback, but not a razor of ships,
13, the Dallas Cowboys.
I think their offense is really
Because their
strong.
offense is one of the highest rated in the league.
Yeah.
Defense is a little bit of a problem. But
at least they were aggressive on defense.
Malachi Lawrence and Caleb Downs added to the fold there gives them a boost.
I don't know how much value you could put on Downs or Reese or Styles or any of those rookies, but I like it.
Yeah. A little surprising to me that this team at 14 isn't a little bit higher. The Houston Texans.
Ooh, I definitely would have them higher.
Elite edge rushers and cornerbacks, as well as upside on the defensive line. But on offense, their analytic outlook remains bleak beyond a solid group of wide receivers.
I like the wideouts.
Their tackles ranked 26 in the NFL.
There's uncertainty with the line. They've changed it so much over the couple years.
And uncertainty with C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet on them, though, being higher than that.
I mean, their defense, I'm not sure. If I could pick one defense on paper,
it'd probably be theirs.
Not even scheme, I think it would probably be Houston.
Number 15, waiting on A.J. Brown to be factored in, is the New England Patriots.
Okay. I don't see a Super Bowl type roster. I know they're just coming off Super Bowl, and they made massive jumps from being like the third pick in the draft the year before to a Super Bowl. I really think they're somewhere in between, but I'm a May believer.
This one I thought they might be a couple spots higher just because of the quarterback equation, but the Cincinnati Bengals are at 16. Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins all very highly rated analytically, but the problem is you can't win a Super Bowl with 3 players. The rest of Cincinnati's offense grades out to below average. Defense, not much better even after trading for Dexter Lawrence. Concerns at edge rusher and linebacker. The secondary is better than most think, but they desperately need to find a way to get after quarterbacks.
I guess there's nothing there I disagree with, but I would take a little bit of umbrage with the offense not named Burrow, Higgins, Chase is below average. I think the line and Chase Brown and that group is probably more like average. I'm splitting hairs, but
17, the Chicago Bears.
I like the offense a lot.
Basically, the defensive line and secondary all grade out poorly in the
I don't know where
model.
the pass rush comes from. Like, if Max Crosby moves, I think that could be a team that
maybe at
gets
the deadline.
or
18, Minnesota Vikings.
I may even have them up a little higher.
I think I would have them a few spots higher, too, but the
quarterback, I don't know how you value that.
The quarterback equation drags them down, as did trading Jonathan Grenard to the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's a good point.
19, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mind you, we have still not gotten to the Steelers here yet.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked by that,
I understand, though, that the quarterback plays a big part. And remember, this is analytic projections, so the quarterback plays a huge part in that. But the Bucs at 19.
I assume they're making the Steelers as Rudolph as a starter right now.
Well,
I would think that you'd have to.
Yes. The ranking does not factor in Aaron Rodgers. Colts at 20, Steelers at 21.
Okay.
So again, though,
that's not terrible companies to hang with the Colts and Bucs. I think those are quality rosters.
They say signing Aaron Rodgers would move the Steelers up, but maybe not as much as people would think. They do have one of the best defensive lines in football and a top 10 rated secondary. The offensive line is still wait and see with a lot of young players who could improve but have to prove it. And if you factor in the wide receivers, this roster is very solid, except for currently the quarterback position. So,
okay, what did he say about O-line again?
He said the offensive line right now doesn't grade highly, but with all the young players, it could quickly improve with experience.
I'm glad the comma but was part of that sentence, because I think the O-line is a real strength, and maybe
better be.
Frankly, it might be the biggest strength of the entire organization. I mean, in terms of players.
I think hopefully by Halloween, that's what we're convinced firmly of.
Right. Like, if you said you could take anything away from the team, the last thing I think Omar would say is, don't touch my O-line.
Yes.
Like, I finally.
If it was like a expansion draft and you protected.
Like, I don't want to lose this guy, but I have to lose somebody. Yeah.
Leave my offensive line alone.
And with respect to Rodgers, too, they said it wouldn't move the needle that much. He's not a perfect player. He's not the MVP Rodgers. I think we all know that. But analytics, and this is an analytics-based exercise, are much harsher on him than the tape or his true value to those around him.
Agreed.
Analytics are rough on Rodgers.
Because he doesn't run.
And
he throws short of the sticks a lot.
Right.
22, the Commies, the Washington Commanders. Yeah. I mean, and I guess it's probably hard to project
I'm a Daniels
fan,
fan,
too, after missing so much of last season and still being so young.
Very underrated O-line. That's trending up in a big way. Yeah, I mean, people don't know who like Sam Cosmi is. He's a really good guard, and the tackle they took in the first round last year really progressed well. Tunsil,
Falcons at 23.
I'd probably be under that.
Saints at 24. I think I'd have the Saints ahead of the Falcons.
Certainly their offense,
and the Commanders probably too.
Yeah.
25, the Carolina Panthers. It's hilarious.
I'd have them higher too.
Those NFC South teams are always lumped together.
Always lumped
these
together.
Things,
yeah.
I think I'd have the Carolina Panthers a little bit higher too.
I'm not a big Young fan, but I think they've done a lot around them.
I think they're solid in the trenches on both sides of the ball, which goes a long way.
Yeah, I like their pass catchers too.
Speaking of pass catchers, number 26, the New York Giants. Malik Neighbors and Abdul Carter rate very highly in this, but still a lot of questions around Jackson Dart after an unspectacular rookie season.
They haven't won many games.
And their defensive line takes a big step back analytically after trading Dexter Lawrence. Not a surprise there.
Okay. But you also threw Reese in that front seven,
Another one
they signed DJ Reader yesterday, which
it's
not nothing.
Another one that I would have thought not in the top 16 or anything, but would have been maybe a little bit higher, Titans at 27.
I guess. Other than Simmons, though, who's a real needle mover? Like who's
I guess that's a
pro
good point.
bowler?
Because I think
I
the Titans
like
are.
Skoronski, but I mean, it's hard.
I think the Titans are very solid in the trenches, but they also aren't. They're not the Philadelphia Eagles in the trenches.
Right. I think they're getting better. The organization's trending the right way. 2 years ago is probably 32nd on the list.
28.
I'm also a Ward believer, but his analytics were horrible.
But his
last year,
analytics
too.
were not good last year. 28. Viva Las Vegas. They had some of the worst offensive line play you'll ever see last year. They addressed that by signing Tyler Linderbaum to a record contract.
I think a new O-line coach is a key to that.
Its offensive line now rates out to about average. Fernando Mendoza still unknown. Elsewhere, the Raiders have the third worst ranked receivers group.
I'd say the wide outs are bad.
And ranked 26th on the defensive line.
Now, Bowers is a monster.
Monster.
And he makes up for weak receivers, but the receivers are bad.
And I bet you, too, a great tight end probably doesn't
do
as
carry
much
enough weight.
analytically.
Yeah.
29, the Brands. Love what they did in the draft, but you
Getting
have
better.
to see from the roster going forward. Cleveland does have some young, albeit unproven talent at skill positions and offensive line.
I guess a lot of it is unproven.
Which makes sense.
I mean, you're the best defensive player in the world, though, too.
Number 30, the Arizona Cardinals.
It's pretty rough.
Pretty rough.
Yeah.
They rank below average at quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, edge rusher, interior defensive line, linebacker, and cornerback. But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
I would say they also have a good tight end. So their pass catchers I can live with. But all the other positions they just listed to me are clearly below average.
All right, Matt, 2 teams left, and they're both in the AFC East.
But Jets and Dolphins.
Who do you think is 31?
Miami has to be 32.
They are 32.
They have to be.
Yes,
32.
Jets at 31, Dolphins at 32. I think those two are kind of clearly the bottom of the barrel.
Now I'll take Willis over the Jets. Well, no, not for right now. I mean, we're talking about Geno. The quarterbacks, I guess, are comparable. They both are kind of unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
O-line, both these teams. The Jets, at least, the offense looks like it's in place, minus the future quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
There's pass catchers, there's tackles. Jets defense needs a lot.
They traded away a lot last year.
They traded away a lot. Miami has a lot of position groups, though, there's not really even a starter in the mix.
Yeah. Miami is a
Their
fair.
receivers are brutal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tyreek and Waddle are both gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like Achane and you like Weaver on the offensive line, but there's a lot of.
They made a ton of draft picks, and
yes.
I get that, and they'll hit on a few, and
they've got
they
a
have
lot of draft
going
picks coming forward.
Same with the Jets.
Yeah. So that was an interesting look, just analytically there. Again, that's from the Athletic roster analytic projections ranking the 32 rosters across the NFL. Beefy segment there. We'll get our clock back on schedule when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here, closing down the first hour of the show. And you know what? Let's, Matt, to close out the hour here, we've gotten a lot of YouTube questions.
Okay.
And
I know we had 2 really heavy segments there.
We did. And so let's hit some questions here and then reset for hour number 2.
All right, I love it.
When we return. Rodrigo says, "Hey, Wes and Matt, I'm a Brazilian guy living in Belgium who fell in love with football more than a decade ago. The Steelers are my favorite team. I almost decided to go to Dublin last year for the game, but it was a little bit too expensive. Question, in an alternate universe where Rodgers couldn't come back and you'd get to choose the best, yet somewhat realistic option for this season, what would you go for?"
From what we have to pick from this point on,
I think it's a realistic option. So
it's not like I would rewind into Malik Willis or Kyler or something like that. Right.
Or I'd trade for, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or
Mac Jones comes to mind, but I can't give up like next year's second-round pick for him.
No chance. What about next year's third-round pick? Would you consider that?
Say then we might be able to have a talk.
But here's this, and you and I have had this conversation before. Then would you be stuck with the 15th best quarterback in the NFL for the next decade?
That's my big thing with him, too, because he's not a runner. I think his ceiling's very low. I think he's a very system-based quarterback that does translate to the system reasonably well. But frankly, I think that's not a good business move. I mean, that's just a Band-Aid and settling. What about Sorsby?
You keep coming back. I
mean, like, if you took Rodgers out of the equation, frankly, I mean, I don't want to groom 3 of them at once, obviously, but you got a lot of reps to go around.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the theory of let's just throw a bunch of stuff at the fan and see who works. And I know some people are just like, just start Howard or Uhler. I'm like,
but is that much different than just starting Sorsby?
I'm not sure if I'm starting him. I would say throw him in the equation. And I just think there's a better chance he hits as a top 10 quarterback than the guys you have. You could ruin them. And I mean, there's not many good. I mean, I'm reaching.
Yeah.
I trade for Anthony Richardson. I mean, things like that
Things
aren't
like
the
that.
worst.
Yeah. But then again, if you're giving up a 3rd round, well, Anthony Richardson is not going to cost you the
I'd
capital
say
that
he's
Mac
a
Jones
5th or
would.
6th or something.
But, yeah.
That's a different world. But again, it's another developmental quarterback, really logistically feasible to develop.
The best option might just be start Mason Rudolph week 1 and at some point turn it over to one of the 2 young guys.
Whoever's most ready.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that, or I mean, I guess you could make a play for a Derek Carr, see what he has left.
Good question, though.
I know. I mean,
Appreciate you listening all the way from Belgium.
I know.
That's
There's
awesome.
They're kind of odd options.
John says, after taking Riley Nowakowski and Eli Heidenreich, it has me kind of feeling that we're going to see some 2 running back sets. Could we see Dowdle and Nowakowski out there together? Could we see Warren and Heidenreich out there together? And a random follow-up question, but I know all of Eli Heidenreich's highlights are full of his catches and runs, but man, if you watch him lead block, he's got some skills.
He does. Now, I've heard some people early in the draft process compare Heidenreich to like Juszczyk as like a move fullback.
Okay.
I think that's nuts because Juszczyk's 30 pounds heavier and he's built like a fullback more. Heidenreich to me is much more built like a pass catching running back / slot receiver type, but he does block like crazy. I think he projects really, really well to all phases of special teams as a blocker, tackler, gunner, jammer, all that kind of stuff.
He's one of those versatile guys that you like to have filling out the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Connor Hayward did some of those things. Speaking of which, I do think you'll see Nowakowski 7 or 8 snaps a game in the backfield as like a fullback, H-back type guy.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think you're on to something. I don't know that Heidenreich will be there in the backfield with another running back, like in a, quote, pony package with 2 backs out there. He may be on the field with those guys, especially if they see him the way I see him, which is a wide receiver. They just happen to be on the field together at the same time, but it wouldn't be like a specialty package. You know what I mean?
Yes, correct. Andrew says, I saw the Steelers rookie numbers got released this morning.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I love Jennings Dunker getting number 93. I think Wolf would have loved that.
Oh, I didn't even look.
You know what? It's funny. I was combing through those numbers this morning.
Is there any O-linemen that have in the 90s?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that is strange to me.
I don't think so. But 73, that was, of course, Craig Wolfley's number.
I thought you said 93.
No, 73.
Oh,
sorry, yeah, 73.
Sorry. I thought you said, I was like, he's 93?
No, 73, and that's the Wolf connection because that was Wolf's number was 73.
No, I dig it.
That is pretty cool.
That's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Couple hay bale tossing guys there. Drew Aller 16, Jeremy Bernard 17, Ian Achor we knew he's 71. But yeah, some of these numbers. Heidenreich is 29. So for all the local Lebo and Yinzers,
selling a couple of them.
I think you'll sell just a few of those, certainly. CD Bragg says, really appreciate you guys. I listen almost every day. You really get me through work. Well, thank you. We always appreciate hearing that. You guys help us get through our work shift
I was saying the same thing too, right?
Submitting questions and comments.
It's a symbiotic relationship there.
It really is. We got this thing going on. He says, segment idea for the off season. Could you do a deep dive on one position group a day, talking outlook for this year plus the health of the position for the future? We do kind of some of that bob and weaving, but I think that's a real thing that we'll do, like OTAs and minicamp time of going through exactly here's what we got.
Make a structured series.
Yes, but that's a good idea.
Dale and I have done that in the past too.
Yeah.
And another thing we did, which isn't always easy to pull off, Dale was better at it than me, was we compared each position group on what's today, May 8th, like your mom's birthday. of 2026 versus May the 8th of 2025.
Ooh.
And you have to kind of remember what you thought of people, too. You know, like, man, is Calvin Austin ready to take a big jump forward? He didn't. You know, you can't be. So there is some of that to it. You got to be honest with yourself and remember what you thought of the team.
Yes. Which can be sometimes the hindsight 2020 thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like, are you more comfortable with this position group than you were 1 year ago at minicamp?
Right.
You know.
Right.
I was pretty high on them then. It didn't come through. Or I wasn't that high on them, and they were way better than I thought.
Interesting. That's something that we'll have to do here this offseason.
And you can kind of forget, like, who was here and who wasn't and what you thought of them. And this Patrick Queen guy's new. I'm not sure what to think of him, you know.
Steel Curtain says, why do college quarterbacks like Will Howard get bashed for having good talent surrounding them and winning? Isn't that something you're supposed to do and exactly what we are trying to do, something that has gone on for a long time? Yeah, I don't know if it's bashing.
I'd say bash might not be the right word.
And when we talk about Will Howard's offensive talent at Ohio State compared to, say, Drew Allers at Penn State, I don't think that's bad. I hope it doesn't sound like bashing Will Howard because that's not his fault or anything, but I also think it's a pertinent piece of information.
I think you're analyzing the data.
Like, for example, Joe Burrow played in probably the greatest college football offense of all time.
Mm-hmm.
His two wide receivers are the two best wide receivers of their generation.
Like walking the planet
Jamar
right now,
Chase.
yeah.
Both of his wide receivers that he played with in college are going to the Hall of Fame one day.
Yep.
His running back was a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
He had two offensive linemen, I think, that were day 2 picks, Joe Burrow did. He played in one of the most stacked offenses with 3 other first-round picks and a couple day 2 picks on the offensive line.
But he elevated all those guys even more, right?
That worked out fine for Joe Burrow. It doesn't necessarily mean that he was just a product of his environment.
That's a lot different than, and you weren't watching at the time, but like Jay Cutler coming out of Vanderbilt was crazy to me. Like, he is big, strong, super great arm. Saw him at Senior Bowl, like, wow, this guy's really good. But he had nothing around him. Or Sellers last year. Or, I mean, that's why this is imperfect science. But I don't know bashing is the right word.
Yeah, no, and I hope it doesn't. When we bring up the talented wide receivers and everything that he played with at Ohio State, I hope that it doesn't sound like bashing.
Like, he came from Kansas State, right?
Yes, K-State to Ohio State.
Like, I wonder if he never transferred to Ohio State, is he still a 6th-round pick? Has a good year with Kansas State. They don't win close to as many games, don't even go to the playoffs, let alone national title. But that's still a good football player on tape, and he's elevating those around him. And, wow, they snuck out a win against Texas Tech I didn't see coming or something like that. Or, man, he was under pressure a lot. Yeah, I'll take him in the 6th round still. You would hope the answer is yes. I don't know if it is or not.
I don't know if it is or not. Yeah. But that's a good way to label it, honestly. It really is. It's interesting because, like, he had some success at Kansas State.
Yeah.
I think
enough that Ohio State wanted him.
Enough that 1A or 1B of the best program in college football wants you to be their guy. I'm trying to remember. I feel like one of his years at Kansas State, they did play in a Big 12 championship game.
That I don't know.
I'm not 1,000% sure on that. But what you said, I think, is a perfect way to lay it out. He played well enough.
Yeah.
That
it wasn't like
Ohio
he came
State,
out of
Alabama, Georgia. I mean, one of the best 2 or 3 or 4 college football programs right now and of all time.
We're after him.
We're after you for what was. That year for Ohio State, and this is one of those where you could go back and remember things, was a big deal. Because Michigan was coming off of finally dethroning Ohio
Harbaugh
State.
Was strong,
won the national championship, won the Big Ten, beat Ohio State, and Ohio State boosters threw a ton of money at that team.
Okay.
And it was
can't have this.
We can't have this, right? It was a big year for Ryan Day. It was a big year for the program. And especially after losing to Michigan at the end of the year from the depths of hell I'll take your big disaster being you go 10-2 and your
champagne problem
and your losses are to Oregon and Michigan and you're still in the college football playoff.
This won't do,
Champagne problems. I would take those problems down in Morgantown.
Of course.
But to Will Howard's credit, and I think Ryan Day has said this a million times, he was one of those catalysts of them taking what was one of the, again, you go 10-2 and you lose to your rival, one of the darkest days in Ohio State football for a long time, to go on to beating Tennessee and Oregon and
I mean, they were a dominant team, right?
Tennessee, Oregon, somebody, and then Notre Dame, Texas, and Notre Dame.
Okay.
I mean, that says a lot about what he was able to do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Speaking of college,
And you'd also rather analyze, especially a quarterback, in those huge games than Week 3 against Kansas.
Totally.
Speaking
of college conversation and all that, John says, I want your guys' thoughts on this. I fully believe that the NCAA should adopt NFL rules like 2 feet in bounds instead of 1. I feel like that would get the kids ready for the NFL more. John, we're going to talk a little bit.
Teaser.
I've teased this a few times, right? And today's a Friday. We're having some fun. When we return to start hour number 2, I will outline for you Wes's half-baked plan to fix college football, and we will answer that. That'll be part of the conversation, John, to kick off the second hour of the drive here on this Friday. So we'll go around campus in a little bit of a different way when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, halfway home. It's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 of The Drive here on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. And we are going to go around campus here a little bit to start hour number 2. Speaking of just piggybacking off what we just talked about there with Will Howard, I was almost right. He did go to a Big 12 championship game, and he won it in 2022 against TCU, who
they were good,
who lost to Georgia in the national championship game. So thanks to TV for going back and checking that one out for us.
I mean, K-State getting to a Big 12 championship game is a massive accomplishment.
Big deal,
right?
Winning it. I mean, they beat the national runner-up. In the Big 12 championship game with him, and then he set a school record the next year for touchdown passes before ultimately transferring to Ohio State. Sticking with the collegiate conversation that we had at the end of the hour there, and John's tweet, Matt, I had told you and our listeners that we'd do this at some point this offseason. It's a Friday. We like to have fun, easy conversation and not work too hard for content on Fridays.
I'm just interested in what you have to say here.
Wes's half-baked idea to fix, not save, but fix college football.
What's the difference?
The sport doesn't need saved.
Because it's going to exist with
financially, it's still incredibly lucrative.
I'm sure it's doing just fine, yeah.
But that serves the suits. That doesn't serve me. Like college sports other than football and basketball are in big trouble.
Okay.
Because Pitt's tennis team has to go to Stanford to play games.
And that's expensive.
And
nobody goes to the games.
And WVU's volleyball team has to go to Texas to play games.
Like Pitt has an awesome women's volleyball team. It probably doesn't. Maybe they make money.
They probably are close to breaking even.
Does Penn State wrestling make money?
Probably.
Which is it?
You know what's funny is Penn State wrestling actually makes more than the men's basketball program, but it's like $1 million a year. So it's not a huge.
And the reason I brought that up, folks, and some of you might know this, from what I understand, Penn State wrestling is the best.
Them in Iowa.
I mean, not only is it the best wrestling program out there, it's the best sports program in college, period. It's better than Bama's football ever was.
You could argue for like Stanford swimming and some of those things, but yes.
WVU rifling.
WVU rifle.
Forgotten.
There you go, baby. 14-time national champions.
So I'm saying the elites of the other sports.
But that's what's kind of hilarious.
Do more than break even, but they don't.
Penn State's basketball team actually makes money, but it's like $800K in the black.
Okay.
Whereas the wrestling program makes a little over $1 million a year.
What does hockey do there now?
Loses money. Not a ton, but think about how expensive that is.
The best prospect in America.
Terry Pagula, does a lot of heavy lifting there. Speaking of bringing him back for the Penn State hockey program, like WVU's baseball program now comes close to breaking even. They lose a little bit of money, but the baseball program's a top 20 program and has 7,000 people at the games type things.
But like Pitt women's volleyball, you think makes money?
I don't know. Look that up for us, TV. But I would guess if they don't, they're pretty close to breaking even.
Because they're phenomenal.
And they get 2,000-3,000 people at the games, and they're really good.
But I bet tickets aren't crazy expensive either.
Pitt right now is talking about slashing like tennis and a couple other Olympic sports because, again, it works out great for football, but for everybody else, traveling to
Stanford,
playing conference opponents 1,000 and 2,000 miles away is not good for business.
Yeah.
So that's part of this. College football needs fixed because I don't care about a bunch of suits and rich executives making more money. It's hurting every other sport besides college football.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So here's basically my idea.
Are you looking a lot of this through a fan's perspective?
Yes.
Okay.
And just the overall good of the game.
Okay. Goodwill and makes your heart warm.
And just what's best in this Wild West age of college football that we're living in right now that I think even Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia fans would tell you is not the ideal. I don't think even fans of those programs love turning over their rosters every year and Ohio State playing opponents in California in the regular season. You know?
I bet that doesn't settle as well. I mean, don't you want the Eddie George or whoever that you recruited and you see every bit of his career? You know, right?
Absolutely. So, again, this is not perfect or foolproof. In fact, when we get to the end of this, I know there's a couple holes in this idea that I will admit and put my hand up. But I would like college football to essentially adopt the NFL model. Rules, divisions, playoff format, all that stuff. Set divisions like the NFL does, regionally. Have a playoff format with exact parameters of how you qualify like the NFL does.
That part, I think, would be much needed.
Have contracts and salary caps just like the NFL does.
I think that should be coming.
The NCAA still controls Olympic sports and basketball. I guess that counts as an Olympic sport because basketball is an Olympic sport. And all the conferences go. The college football adopts a divisional NFL-style format. Every other college sport goes back to regionality, which makes way more sense for every program that isn't football anyways.
Yeah.
So
Pitt should play WVU in baseball and tennis.
They should obviously play in football, but they should absolutely play in soccer and volleyball and wrestling. It should be Syracuse and Penn State and WVU and Maryland and you know, those type of things. So there's 32 teams in the NFL, right? You have 8 4-team divisions in the National Football League. Double it and follow that format. You would have 64 teams, essentially. Now, here's one of the holes in this, is that there's 68 Power 4 programs currently.
So you really have to battle out who
plus
makes the
Notre Dame makes it 69. So the 64, you'd have to either cut 5 or figure something else out. But
maybe some divisions have 9 instead of 8 or whatever.
You could have 8 8-team divisions. So essentially kind of NFL has 8 4-team divisions. You would have 8 8-team divisions. So you would play a 7, or maybe, again, some of them would be 9.
Either way, we're splitting hairs. Okay.
You would play your 7-game divisional series plus...
Every year.
Every year. You'd play those 7 teams every year.
If I played you at home, I'm playing you a road next week.
Exactly right. Year, and then you'd have a split of the same kind of, we play 1 or 2 other teams from the AFC, quote unquote, and we play 1 or 2 of the other teams from the NFC, because that would be 7 of your 12 regular season games. So you would still have 5 other games for some potential regional or protected rivalries and just cross interleague play, if you know, to use a baseball term there.
Okay.
So like if Notre Dame was in the Eastern Conference and USC was in the Western Conference, you could still have that as a protected rivalry every year.
Okay.
If
a protected rivalry, okay.
If Penn State and Pitt are both in the AFC but in a different division, you could still have that as a protected rivalry every year. Does that make sense?
Yes. That does make sense. Okay.
So you could kind of protect, again, rivalry, which is the crux and should be the most important thing in my opinion.
Rivalry to me is really important
in college football.
So much lost, right?
So you could have a division, for example, that would be WVU, Penn State, Pitt, Cincinnati, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Maryland, and Louisville.
Okay, my one pushback, why would Penn State say yes to that? Because they're the biggest ticket of all of them.
And they're not going to have a choice in this. And then Wes's half-baked idea to fix college football. The Steelers don't get to tell the NFL we're playing in the AFC North. The NFL tells the Steelers you're playing in exactly right. Exactly right.
Some get better draws, some don't.
Yeah. And that's a division in a conference with Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Syracuse, Miami, NC State. Regionality. Okay? So that's kind of what the model would look like for the 8x8 team divisions regional.
Does Notre Dame become one? They have to join a
yes.
division. Yeah, they can't just do it.
Yes.
The nonsense they're doing.
Absolutely right. Again, this is the NFL model of the league telling you this is how it works.
We're not asking you.
Yes. Hey, Titans, you're moving from the Central to the South.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and that's happened over history.
Hey, Jags, you're moving from this division to that division, which happens in every major league. The Houston Astros, Nathan, 10 years ago got moved out of the NL Central into a different division that made because why were the Houston Astros playing in a division with the Ohio and Pennsylvania and Milwaukee teams?
I mean, Seattle was in the AFC when I was a kid.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And you would have with this full adoption of NFL rules and officiating. So 2 feet in bounds.
I don't feel as strong about that, but okay.
2 feet in bounds for a catch. You're down by contact, not by your knee, like you are. The clock operations. It's all the same in the NFL and in college football. Players must sign 2-year contracts upon their high school commitment. Now, you have an out for if your head coach leaves.
I said, what if your head coach leaves? Okay.
Or you want to go to the NFL draft.
Oh, so you're still allowed to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
But upon going to a school, you must sign a 2-year contract upon commitment. Again, outs for if your head coach takes a different job.
And you can't hold out.
Or if you're going to the NFL draft. Yes. You get 1 free transfer still. You could go into the portal and transfer
the 2 years?
After the 2 years.
Okay.
Yes. So if you are a freshman who commits to, let's say, Akron.
Yeah.
And you're Emmanuel McNeil Warren, you're great.
Amazing, yeah.
And Ohio State wants you. You can transfer for free 1 time. But then if you
after you put your 2-year commitment
after you put your 2 years in. But then if after that, if you want to transfer out of Ohio State before your next 2-year commitment, you're not going to the NFL, your head coach hasn't changed, you got to sit out a year if you want to do it again.
And that's kind of old school.
That's old school.
Which I don't have a problem with. And that would really cut down on the transfers.
It would really cut down on the transfers. There would still be them, obviously, but there would be some defined structure there with still ways that you can get out. If your head coach leaves, if you're leaving to go to the NFL draft, not to transfer to another school, there are some exceptions there. Postseason format. You win your division, you automatically go to the playoff.
So that's 8 division winners.
8 division winners automatically in the playoff.
Okay.
Here's a little I think would be fun.
I say there should be some kind of wild card-ish stuff.
In lieu of, because conference championship games are going away in college football.
Yeah.
So in lieu of that, the 2nd and 3rd place team in each division would have a play-in game for the playoff. It would kind of replace the conference. It wouldn't be a conference championship game because it wouldn't be
Ohio State wins their division, but Michigan plays Michigan State.
Michigan plays Penn State.
Yeah.
And the winner goes to the playoff. That's 8 more automatic teams. That's a 16-team playoff overall. I think that's a sweet spot. We're going now from 12 to 24 in college football. 24 is too big.
24 is insane.
I can understand having a little more than 12. 24 is insane. I think 16 would be a real sweet spot.
And it would still make a ton of money.
And don't you think Michigan playing Penn State with a spot in the winner goes to the playoff, season's done? That wouldn't be, and that game's in Indianapolis. That wouldn't be a huge draw.
Loser leave town match.
Yeah. Division winner automatically goes to the playoffs. 2nd and 3rd place team play a winner go home, let's call it wild card game, to go to the playoff. Okay. That gets you automatically 16 teams. There's no committee to decide it. It is exact like the NFL. This is exactly how you qualify for the postseason.
If you're the 3rd best team in the country, but you're also the 3rd best team in your division,
tough luck.
You lose.
The Seahawks and the Rams were in the same division last year. I know, again, nothing's ever going to be perfect and fair all the time.
You'd be like, wow, it's Colorado not in this year. They're incredible.
But at least it's not a bunch of old dinks wearing suits in a conference room deciding who goes to the playoff. It's still decided, even though it might not be perfect, it's still decided on the field.
So if we narrowed down to the 64 teams, even if we made it 69 or whatever, like you said to start the segment, could none of the other teams ever go to the playoffs?
So I've also put in here, like, what do you do with the G6?
Yeah.
So that's one of the flaws. I have 2 flaws in this plan that I'll put my hand up and say I don't have a perfect answer for this. One is it's a 64-team format that I just said here, and you have 69 power programs. The other is what happens to G6. Do they all of a sudden compete for the Rose Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl?
You got to give them some kind of something, but
I would love this. I know we will never have this in American sports, but do you know the concept of relegation and promotion?
That's a soccer thing, right?
It's a European sports thing.
Yeah.
Where every year
it's very interesting.
The bottom 3 teams. So in England, in Spain, in Germany, in France, they all have their own NFL for soccer. They all have their own league. There's 20 teams in each league. But then they have
like Ted Lasso's team almost got
exactly
bumped,
right.
Yeah.
But then they have almost kind of like AAA and AA and single A baseball in America, but they're not. The organizations are not affiliated to a pro club. The bottom 3 from the top league go down every year. The top 3 move up.
Wow.
So I would love to have a promotion and relegation system like that, where
that would make some sense in college football.
Every year,
the Boise State's awesome 5 years in a row or whatever.
They bump up.
And maybe they never leave.
If Wake Forest goes 2-10 for they're down into the G6.
Yeah.
Now, schools would never sign up for that. That just boggles the American sports mind. That is,
so no one can wrap their head around.
What would that do to our finances and everything? That would be the perfect way to do this: is to have promotion and relegation.
Doesn't mean nobody would go to Wake Forest games anymore.
Absolutely not.
Right.
But I understand that my 2 big flaws that I have in here, Matt, that I admit, is what happens to the G6 programs. Because as a college football purist, Akron still matters. Marshall still matters. Like Boise State still matters.
So this is going to sound kind of coarse, but
they don't. I mean,
that's the thing. Is like, okay, they've included some of these smaller programs into the playoffs recently. But even if they're undefeated and they're awesome, never do I think they have a chance.
Right.
And they don't.
Right.
We could pretend like they do, and there could be a miracle on ice situation where they win it all or something.
Absolutely.
Beat Ohio State, or even if they win one game. But not really.
But those are exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, right.
And there's a reason they call it the miracle on ice.
I can live without that 0.1% possibility, especially in this sport.
If you have 69 teams in the top division, I think you're casting a wide enough net to give a lot of people a chance.
And I think other sports, there's just a better chance of crazy upsets than football.
Completely agree.
You hit a goalie that's unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A hot shooter that is, Steph Curry at Davidson, who's going to give you 30-some points.
Akron gets Paul Skeens, and he mows everybody down, and you win 1-0.
Yep.
But Bama's never going to lose to Alabama State. I mean, they're just too big and physical, and they're just going to push them around. There's 11 people on the field, and all 11 of mine are better than yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my 2 deep is better than yours, and my 3 deep is better than yours.
Yeah, I might have a bad day here and there.
But even if I have a bad day, I'd probably still win 27-17, and maybe it's a little close in the fourth quarter.
And there's
but
no way Alabama State beats Alabama, then Georgia, then Oklahoma to win the home national title.
Yes.
It's almost impossible.
So that's kind of my whole format there, Matt. With, again, what I understand are you can poke some holes in the format. How do you fit 69 teams into 64? We can wiggle room that around. What happens to these G6 programs? But that's kind of...
Oh, I had a scheduling question I meant to ask you 10 minutes ago.
I do have one more piece of this, too, that I think you'll like, but go ahead.
Can the Ohio States of the world still play Akrons and like preseason games? So 7
of your 12 games
are set.
Say that you have a protected rivalry in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
So even though maybe WVU and Virginia Tech aren't in the same division, they're in the same conference, they play every year.
Yeah.
Even though Notre Dame and USC, they play every year. Yep.
Sure.
Maybe I'm trying to think of another good example here. Like maybe Oregon and USC are in different divisions, but they still play every year.
Okay.
And then you would still have some wiggle. Like, so say of those 5 extra.
Kind of like Florida and Florida State play every year, even though they're not in the same conference.
Exactly right. Yeah. So of those 5 extra games, say 1 or 2 is for a protected matchup. Maybe 1 is for a G6 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And then
kind of like a preseason warmer-upper game.
And the other 2, Ohio State and Texas, can say, yeah, I'm in the AFC, you're in the NFC, but we're going to play a home and home. You can still have some scheduling.
And we'll make
freedom.
A lot of money on it.
You can still have some scheduling freedom in that way.
Okay. But there's less incentive to do that to get in the playoffs because no one's voting.
There absolutely is.
Yeah. And
it's
not like, but how about that Texas win?
Right. And so
that counts the same as the Akron win.
So maybe that's part of how we figure it out is instead of 8-team divisions, it's 9-team divisions or something like that. Maybe with this, maybe instead of 12 regular season games, we go back to playing 11 regular season games. There's some working in there that can happen. And like I said, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say that this is not completely perfect, but I think it's at least some semblance of something that people would really like and would work and would bring regionality, which is so desperately needed, back to college sports.
That's a great goal.
And, again, we wouldn't have the Russian Olympic judge sitting on the board deciding who wins the gold medal, deciding who goes to the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's all based on the field. There's an exact formula of how you qualify for the postseason.
Just like the NFL.
Might not be perfect, just like the NFL. You'll get an 8-9 Carolina Panthers every once in a while.
Yeah.
But that's better than Roger Goodell and some other people sitting around and deciding who goes to the playoff.
Yeah. Now, I have mixed feelings, and I can really take it or leave it about getting 2 feet in bounds and those type of things.
Sure.
Part of me finds it very strange that NFL players play with a different ball than they have their whole life.
Yes.
I mean, when Lemieux came to the league, he didn't get a new puck that weighs.
Paul Skeens didn't get a bigger baseball.
That's bigger and heavier, or, right. I mean, I guess there's wood versus aluminum stuff, that type of deal. But the actual basketball is the same. I mean, I do find that a little odd about football.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. The last twist of this, Matt, that I would like to throw out there for you is I would allow for, in this new world, I would allow for joint practices in spring ball.
Okay, kind of like the NFL does.
Kind of like the NFL does. But
they'd be really competitive.
But it would be really competitive, and I think that's how you would kind of, again, to throw a bone, keep some stuff going for the other G6 programs. Like, imagine Pitt has spring ball practices with Duquesne or Akron or some local program.
Like Ohio State wouldn't do it with Michigan.
Ohio State would do it with Ohio.
Yeah.
Penn State would do it with Temple. WVU would do it with Marshall.
Bama wouldn't do it with Auburn.
No, Bama would do it with UAB or one of those Louisiana Tech.
And you're selling tickets to this event.
Yes,
of course,
like a spring game.
Yeah,
you're selling tickets
to
it. Because spring games are also going the way of the dodo bird now in college football.
Yeah, yeah.
Because nobody wants to put the tape out there of
And that Alabama State kid that's the best player on the team might want to show Saban that you should call me in a year.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I think there would need to be, along with the contracts that we talked about, this was maybe the last thing I forgot to mention, there would be some type of fee. This is another kind of similar promotion and relegation thing that I adopted from European sports leagues. If you are Manchester United and you want to get a soccer player from some up-and-coming 23-year-old stud who's going to be one of the best players in the world one day.
That's from a real small program or whatever.
The way that this works is it's not like American sports where you trade for, I'll give you draft picks and this guy for your player. It's all monetary fees.
I'll buy him off you.
So
I think is like baseball did in the 20s.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah. If Desmond Reed is transferring from, I forget where he came from before going to Pitt, but if Darrelle Revis decides to transfer from Pitt to Alabama after fulfilling his requirements,
2 years,
Alabama pays Pitt some type of transfer fee.
Yeah, okay.
If Pitt steals a kid from Akron, I'm
Duquesne
not talking millions and millions of dollars, but you pay them some kind of transfer fee.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I think, again, I'm not saying all of this is perfect.
No, of course not.
But in the weird world of Matt Williamson, the weird world of Wes Uhler, this is one of the things that I find myself thinking about sometimes in the evenings when I'm sitting in the basement watching TV.
College isn't my specialty, but I would be interested in some feedback on this from listeners that are as into college as you are, that could speak intelligently like, you didn't see this one loophole, or, boy, that's an idea I hadn't thought of. And I love the idea of, maybe the folks overseas know a thing or two about sports too. Like we couldn't figure out the metric system here. We like yards and feet and gallons and things that make no sense. I mean, when I was like 6, in 5 years we're all just going to know the metric system.
Yep,
not yet.
Yep, and I just too. I think that this would eventually, like, some of these programs have Penn State doesn't have problems selling football tickets.
They're going to sell it no matter what.
But they're also not a sellout every single game. Now, that's because they have 101,000 people at a 109,000 seat stadium.
So if Maryland shows up, they might only sell 100,000 seats.
But you think if they're playing Pitt and West Virginia regularly, that those games for Pitt, we know like they don't have the greatest attendance record. But you think if they're playing WVU and Penn State and Cincinnati and Virginia Tech, those games aren't going to be sold out.
Especially if you do it every year.
Exactly right.
Man, I hate those guys beat us last year.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, it's close enough that Maryland can drive to Acrisure Stadium and bring their own people.
Absolutely.
Oregon's not.
Oregon is not. Oregon fans are not driving to Maryland for their Big Ten matchup.
Right. Rutgers, right.
So, again, that's my half-baked idea. I realize it's not perfect.
It's also good for recruiting, too. I mean, the kid that's torn between Rutgers, or the kid that's torn between NC State and NC goes to that game and something's on the line for him. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
I'm the stud from North Carolina, and I want to stay close to home.
Exactly
and I get to
right.
see these two teams play every year,
So let me know how in the YouTube comments on Twitter. Again, I realize that idea is not perfect, but I think it's a hell of a lot better than the system, the Wild West that we're currently operating under. So let me know what you think about that one. And unfortunately, we are going to have a 2014 playoff here pretty soon, which I am not a huge fan of.
Does that start this upcoming season?
I think they're trying to, but if not this year, definitely. No, sorry. I think the contract is one more year this year for the 12 team, and then so
I know
they're trying to
boosted up March Madness too, right?
That just passed yesterday.
Yeah, I thought that just happened. Yeah.
What happened to the game I love?
Oh man.
Let's I want to get into some rookie minicamp is this weekend for the Steelers, and we now know what the roster, the invitees are for that rookie minicamp. Let's dig into some of those names, both familiar and otherwise, when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Don't look now, but there's some football coming to the south side of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, how about that?
Rookie minicamp on the horizon. And
again, they call this nursery school, basically.
It's a great way to put it. It's like orientation almost,
yes.
Right? It's
this is where the library is. This is where the cafeteria
this is where you park.
Yep.
This is where you get your playbook. And with that, Matt, let's see, 12 plus 12 is 24. Plus 16 is 40. 40 guys on the Steelers 2026 rookie minicamp roster.
Right.
12 vets.
But Cam Hayward's not going to be there, folks.
Correct. But a couple familiar names will be.
Okay.
12 vets, 16 rookies, the 10 draft picks plus the 6 UDFA guys.
Okay.
And then 12 tryout players.
Which is an interesting concept, too.
Very interesting
Once in a while,
concept.
those guys make enough to get to camp.
They sure do. The vets, some new names, some familiar names, and I'll do my best to run through these and not butcher anybody's last name.
Our apologies ahead.
Donico Slaughter, defensive back from Arkansas, 1 year in the league so far.
Okay. I don't remember him being at camp.
I don't either. J.J. Galbraith, a name that we remember.
Yeah.
Tight end, did some good things last year in training camp out of South Dakota. Heading into his second year in the
Tight
NFL.
End's a spot someone could make a little noise, yeah.
And I'm sure we'll probably do this before training camp, but like guys that, could, quote unquote, come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He would be one of them.
Jalen Warren.
He would be one of them. Jack Henderson, safety from Minnesota, who is entering his second year in the league as well. Kyler Baugh, a name that we've talked about a little bit before, defensive tackle entering his third year out of Minnesota. Javari Ritzy, second-year defensive end out of North Carolina. Lorenzo Thompson, second-year offensive lineman out of Rhode Island. Doug Nestor, who Steelers fans will remember. He was with he back and forth on the Steelers practice squad over the last couple years. Of course, he is a world champion West Virginia Mountaineer, entering his third year, still just 25 years old. Aiden Williams, guard from Minnesota Duluth, entering his second year. Stephen Jones, he was an offensive lineman that was big in our conversations at camp last year.
I thought he could maybe even make the team.
Last year. He was one of those guys we thought had a shot. He's entering his third year. He played college football at Oregon. Another name, Matt, that we're excited and to see back, Max Hurleman, wide receiver out of Notre Dame. Remember him from camp last year?
He was kind of Eli Heidenreich before Eli Heidenreich.
Him and Heidenreich might have some two dog, one bone going on there out in Latrobe.
But there were things to like about him, too.
There certainly were.
He's a fill-in-the-gaps guy.
He made some real plays. And then two other wide receivers, Cole Burgess, third-year guy out of Cortland State, and Brandon Smith, fourth-year guy out of Iowa.
Okay.
More Hawkeyes on the roster, baby.
I say a lot of Iowa representation these last couple of years.
So those are the 12 vets. Matt, I don't think I need to name all the rookie draft picks because we've gone over them so much. Right. And we discussed the 6 UDFAs that are going to be in
Can you just rapid fire them? I'm sure some people are like, who are they talking
about?
If you don't have them.
Yeah. No, I got them. I got them right here. Lath Margin, kicker from Kansas. Mm-hmm. Devin Boykin, corner from national champion Indiana. Dylan Carnell, linebacker from Mizzou. Lake McRae, tight end from USC. Shimon Mateer, I believe is how he pronounces his last name, tight end from Arizona State.
Interesting that they have 3 tight ends here at this camp.
And Kevin Jabody Jr. from Syracuse, defensive lineman. Those are the 6 UDFAs.
He's a good athlete.
And then tryout players, Matt, 2 things that stand out here.
So let me stop you super quick, because one thing I would throw at you. There's not going to be 10 offensive linemen. Like you're not going to be able to run 11 on 11s, guys. You know what I mean? Like some positions there's not, and I mean, there's going to be one quarterback. Like.
Yes.
This is not a typical football practice.
That's one thing that stands out to me before we get into the tryout players that stands out to me about this. There's one quarterback amongst these 40 guys.
Drew Aller.
Drew Aller.
Yeah.
Here you go, young man. Here's your workload. You're going to be getting a lot of reps.
There's
over
a kicker,
rookie
but I
minicamp.
don't think there'll be a punter. There won't be a long snapper. I don't know if there'll be 5 offensive linemen.
It's funny you say that because there's 3 punters amongst the tryout players.
Really? Okay.
I guess because one of those guys is going to need to go to camp with Cam Johnston. So the 12 tryout
there's something
players,
to hang in front of those guys.
There certainly is. 12 tryout players. Few of them are pit guys. Few of them are punters. There's another local guy in here as well, too. David Bale, punter out of Arkansas. Rashad Battle, defensive back from Pitt. Raquel Williams, wide receiver from Pitt. Ryan Stonehouse, punter from Colorado State. Joseph Zielinski, linebacker from Pitt. Gabriel Nwosu, punter from Penn State. Alex Teka, running back from Navy and Mount Lebo.
Yep.
2-time former teammate with Eli Heidenreich.
State champion.
Terrell Timmon, linebacker from Texas Tech. Brandon George, linebacker from Pitt. Jacob Bobenmeyer, long snapper from Northern Colorado.
So I guess they will run special team stuff.
Gregory Crippen, center from Michigan. And Jamari Butler, linebacker from LSU.
Okay. So I've never been at one of these for the Steelers.
I haven't either.
I assume
this is
we
maybe
did
like
it
the only thing that we haven't covered in our extensive history.
And I bet that there's not much reason to be there. But
I wouldn't think so.
It is interesting, the names, and 2 or 3 of them that we've never heard of will start showing up in training camp and in the preseason.
Yes.
They'll start showing up.
And some of those few names that I mentioned in the J.J. Galbraith, the Max Hurleman, the Stephen Jones, I got to imagine we'll be talking a lot more about those guys at training camp.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I was sitting there thinking, like, you would hope, like, a Honachor and Bernard just destroy these dudes, which they probably will.
Tunchilkin, if you can't beat the stiffs, you are a stiff.
Right. The draft picks, you would hope, like, my wife, who doesn't even know what a first down is, could walk down and be like, I'll take that one.
Honachor guy looks a little different.
Maybe that's a draft pick. But I also don't think that they're going to do, backs on backers and stuff like that either. I mean, the degree of what they ask of them isn't going to be just destroy this undrafted defensive tackle in front of you, Max. I don't think that's how this works.
Exactly right. One last note. One of those punters that I mentioned, Ryan Stonehouse.
So I knew that name.
4-year NFL vet. He was a All-Pro in 2022 with the Titans. So he's got some pedigree in his career. And that might, one of those guys will end up getting a camp. One of those guys will get invited to campus in July.
Yes.
To go to Latrobe and to
he's the leader in the clubhouse.
He might be the pole position guy right now.
Unless he had some injury between now and then.
I think that's what happened. But 2022, which is not recently, but he was an All-Pro.
He's been in the league. He's gotten real checks.
He was an All-Pro not too long ago. I mean, 2022, but
why not bring him in?
Why not bring him in and see what he's got? He has the NFL single season record in 2022 for average yards per punt.
Really? Okay.
Still just 26 years old.
Yeah, maybe you have something there.
So
I don't know why I knew that name. Yeah.
2023, he had a torn ACL, MCL, and broken bone in his non-kicking leg.
That doesn't sound great.
Right. He did punt for the Colts last season, 73 punts for a over 50-yard average, and was a alternate for last year's Pro Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So he's not like the others.
He is not like the others.
I bet he's coming in here saying I'm going to get in a training camp somewhere.
I bet you so.
Yeah.
And so he seems like a real one to keep an eye on. And I would almost be surprised at this point
if he's not in Latrobe. Yeah.
Last kind of bit of news, Matt, before we break and go get to some tweets and some YouTube comments to get us out of here. Just across the timeline a couple hours ago, the Jets and Breece Hall this afternoon agreed on a 3-year contract extension worth a little over $45.5 million. They did tag him, remember, franchise tag, but he now gets a deal that will give him a little bit more than that tag number.
I've kind of played this or read this one all wrong. I thought he was somebody that they would trade at the trade deadline
Tag him
last
and then trade
year.
him. Yeah.
Then I thought they'd tag him and trade him because they have the space. And I just think they love him. That I think that they look at him and he's very pass friendly. And I give them credit. And if I'm going to talk about the nest, the Jets all of a sudden, after drafting Sadiq and Cooper and those tackles and Garrett Wilson in place and a good pass catching back in Hall, have a pretty nice soft nest for next year's first-round quarterback. And I think that's clearly the plan here.
That's what we're looking for, baby.
Yeah.
That is exactly what we're looking for. One more segment to go. Yins know how we'll close this thing down with your questions, comments, concerns, and reactions. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive. Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment of the day, final segment of the week. Yins know the drill. The time is yours. Your questions, your comments, your concerns, your reactions. You can always get at us on the X Twitter, at Wesley Uhler, at Williamson NFL. You can also leave your comments, if you're not a Twitter person, on our YouTube page every day. And our video producer, Mr. TV.
Picking up, right?
Heck yeah, we love it. You're making us look good. You're making TV look good. We're driving some off-season content for the Steelers. You get to see Matt Williamson do his mustard impersonation. So all good things happening on the YouTube side. Annie says, we learned the hard way last year how important a legit second wide receiver is. Ooh. And we have one, but I still believe we are one receiver horse short. But I also wonder how many mouths are too many to feed, especially given that we have two tight ends that we want to see get the ball as well. It's a great question,
It's
Annie.
a great question. And I would take it a step further as I wonder, I make it sound like McCarthy's 11 personnel only. He's not.
He's just heavy.
Yeah. I wonder, with the league going to more and more multiple tight end sets and 13 receiver sets, is McCarthy set in his ways of we're going to be super heavy 11? Or compared to his recent years, are you going to incorporate more multiple tight end sets? I also like the term she threw out there that is a lot of mouths to feed. I'm sure there'll be several Mondays after a Steeler loss we'll be like, well, why didn't Darnell Washington get more than 3 targets? Well, because Bernard got 3 and Metcalf got 8 and Pittman got 7 and Warren had 4 and and Freiermuth had 6, and you can't just feed all the mouths, period. And again, too many mouths to feed. It's a problem you can sign me up for all day long.
Champagne problems.
Yeah, sign me up all day long.
Ian says, if you guys were on a deserted island and it could only take 3 albums with you to listen for the rest of your life, what would they be? He says, mine would be Blink-182's debuted self-titled album, Dookie by Green Day, great album, Marshall Mathers' LP by Eminem. Those are 3 speaking to my 90s child albums there, Ian. Matt?
The Wall's my first pick times 1,000.
Is it really?
Double disc helps.
That's part of this, too. You want to have
that's
something
why I probably go with Physical Graffiti, too. I mean, that's why it probably wins the Zeppelin battle. Then I got to think about it.
Okay. This is one of those, I preface this sometimes.
But the Wall's definitely my first-round pick.
When we get, give us your 3 favorite sandwiches like we got yesterday.
Sandwich.
This is one of those in 15 minutes from now when I'm walking to the car, I'll be like, oh, crap, I forgot about. But.
What do you mean I didn't take Appetite for Destruction? Am I crazy? Right.
I'll go with the Cornell live show 49 years ago today. Grateful Dead. I mean, that's like a 3-hour album live show.
Yeah, right.
I'll go Led Zeppelin 4.
Strong.
And I'll go Definitely Maybe by Oasis to sneak in my 90s inner child.
No Bruce.
Inner child. Oh, dang.
I figured I'd throw you a little curveball there. Appetite's my third one.
Either Darkness on the Edge of Town or Born to Run.
Appetite's close to a perfect album to me.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. That's a tough. I would like it if this was 5 instead of 3 albums, please, next time, Ian. JD says, basically asks if we feel that the Steelers, have a real free safety type. And also,
I'm not sure the answer is yes.
And also, would you guys consider trading for some wide receiver help?
I would consider trading for some wide receiver help.
Especially like at the deadline or something like that.
Yeah, I just would like to kick the tires and see what's out there.
But you've kind of talked about how the designation of free and strong isn't, while it's still a talking point, it's not as important historically as it's been.
So super quick, I would next year's first or second or probably third is not in the mix for a wide receiver trade. So I'm not getting in on A.J. Brown all of a sudden or anything like that. It didn't mean that. I don't really think that they have a typical free safety on the roster. Ramsey's done that, but he's not a typical free safety. He's been a corner his whole life. But I bet that's by design. I just think that
I think so too.
I don't think that's an accident. Right.
RJ says, what would your guys' death row meals be?
Ooh.
I
Probably
know
seafood
this.
Galore.
Yeah?
Probably.
It's a good one.
Surf and turf would be strong.
I kind of cheating because I know you're supposed to pick.
Cheating.
I know and you're supposed to pick one thing, but I would love a portion of my mother's chicken parm. My mom makes incredible chicken parm. Do you know what pasties are, Matt Williamson?
No.
They're like a Pennsylvania Dutch, almost like a meat pie. Okay, steak, onions, and potatoes.
Okay.
In a crust. My grandma, the Uhlers hail from Carlisle, PA. My grandma makes the best pasties in the world. Steak, potatoes, onions, they're incredible. She homemade makes the crust. Unbelievable. So I would like a portion of my mom's chicken parm. I would like a portion of my grandmother's pasties. And then I want to...
Even though they don't necessarily go together, but it's your last meal.
It's my last meal. I don't have to deal with the stomach ache. And a slice of pizza from my favorite pizza shop, which is Adrian's Pizza Shop in Wexford. One portion of each of those three.
Okay. That's a little cheating.
It's a little cheating. I know.
Yeah.
If I could only pick one, it would probably be my mom's chicken parm.
Okay. So you really didn't pick one.
All right, fine.
I mean,
sorry,
you did in the end there with
sorry,
Mama's.
Grandma. It's my mom's birthday.
On your mom's birthday,
today.
she loses. Yeah. Because why'd you? I'm going to give you a hard time. Why did you limit it to just 3? Why don't you throw in like 5 other things you like?
All right, now I'm a little reasonable here. Give me a couple bites of the Jewett down from Portman's.
Right. I want a portion of this. I want a portion of that.
I'd
probably just go like if I only get one true thing, probably be awesome Alaskan king crab legs.
That's a great one.
You know,
it's a great one. I'd love a nice tomahawk ribeye.
Yeah.
Maybe some shrimp
I'm
cocktail.
not even 100% sure
Elmo's.
Alaskan kings are the best, is the most delicious crab, but it would probably be some sort of crab.
That's a really good call.
Yeah.
Corbin says, love when you guys swap Dale memories. My favorite was always the discussions around draft time of him running the 40-yard dash and how fast he could do it. Even recently makes me laugh to think about it. Yeah, we used to give him grief about that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Max would be like, we could still run 40-yard dashes. And we'd be like, no, you couldn't.
No, you cannot.
No chance.
Nope.
Dale used to think that he could beat Angel Reese one-on-one in a basketball game. No,
right.
No, you can't, Dale.
Nope.
You're 6
I love the ambition.
I love the ambition, but she's like 6'6" or 6'5".
And
You're
does
6'1",
this for a living.
does this for a living and is in really good shape.
Well-trained athlete, yeah. And noticeably younger.
Now, if maybe there was a 5'5" WNBA player, then maybe I would give Dale some credit. But
and Dale would be putting his elbows right in her throat and fighting for every rebound, but you're not winning that battle.
Oh, my goodness. I love it. Smooth Dave, who is the most likely All-Pro from this draft class? Who is the most likely to be the first All-Pro that Omar Khan drafts? Zach Frazier.
Zach Frazier.
Or Nick Herbig. Or Joey Porter Jr.
Valtanu.
Zach Frazier.
From this draft class. I mean, Max to me is...
I don't know if he means Steeler.
I assume he meant
Steeler.
Steeler.
Then I think it would have to be Max.
Smooth Dave's a regular, and I think he's talking local. Yeah, I mean, like, I love Bernard. I think it's a really good pick. I just don't think he's going to be Pro Bowl caliber at any point.
This is kind of cheating, but if Weegan is the return specialist he could be an All-Pro returner.
I mean, if the worlds collide, if the worlds aligned in a perfect manner, could it be Uhler?
Sure.
I'm just saying, like, whose ceiling's high enough to get there? Like, to me, Bernard's isn't. That doesn't mean he's a bad pick or it's a bad choice. Being a perennial Pro Bowl, All-Pros, I think they said, not Pro Bowl, or not Tyler Huntley. I mean, that's a hard bar to get over.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Max could get there, though. That's why I wanted Max more than anybody.
Jeff, maybe this is a fun one to get us out of here today. Jeff says, who would you rather go into a dark alley with, Greg Lloyd or James Harrison? Is this splitting hairs? Yes, it is, but that's a good way. One of the fun conversations that Matt and I and Dale would be part of it, and Pursuta and our kind of training camp crew.
Mm-hmm.
Every year at Sharky's, at some point after a couple pops at the bar, we'd have the debate of if you locked the entire Steelers roster in the room,
Who comes out?
Who comes out?
Yeah.
This is kind of similar. That's a good one. Greg Lloyd and Debo. I'm not going against Debo in any type of thing like this.
I wouldn't either, but I never walked past Greg Lloyd in the hallway back in the day. Lloyd was lighter than people remember. He played at 210. That doesn't mean he's not a total badass. And he was also a karate champion or whatever too.
Because he was a karate champion, yes.
But he was a lot leaner than Harrison. It was I wouldn't discount Pouncey though.
Wouldn't discount Pouncey. Wouldn't discount Levon Kirkland.
You're right. That era of Pouncey, who comes out of the locker room?
Pounce might be the answer of this past Steelers era.
Or Villanueva.
Well, that's kind of cheating.
That's little cheating, but he's got some training.
Experience. He's got some training.
Right.
He's what's the Liam Neeson? I have a highly trained set of skills.
Yeah, I think if I'm walking that dark alley, Al's my pick.
Kind of cheating, but also absolutely
who
the right
could you
answer.
pick as your bodyguard in Steeler history?
Big Al.
I think I'd take Al, right?
I'm good with that call, too. Last one, real fun in our kind of ongoing conversation about how to cook eggs this week.
Oh, boy.
Tyler says, it's time-consuming, but if you like soft-boiled eggs, you got to get a sous vide machine. It's a game changer. They're amazing with noodles. You know what a sous vide is?
Yeah.
I've heard that from people that
wow.
That might be my next kitchen purchase in the next year. So I might have to get
a steak thing, I thought. Though,
I've been told that if you sous vide your steaks, you'll never go back to doing it different because you can get it exactly the temperature and the rareness that you want done.
I mean, I don't cook anything. I reheat things, but I mean, an egg in a sous vide to me would never cross my mind.
Matt's too busy going.
Oh yeah, I'll make a sandwich for you though.
With all his, I said to TV, I said 20 years from now, Matt, when you retire and go into the Steelers Hall of Honor as the greatest football analyst in Pittsburgh history, 30 years from now, when your highlight reel montage video plays, it better end with you going. Here's how I do my mustard.
I didn't mention Golden's.
Golden's mustard, of course.
Yeah,
of course. Fun show today. Fun shows this week. Big thanks to Nate Dogg on the ones and twos, Nathan producing the audio side of things, and of course, Mr. TV, Tyler V, on the video side of our operation. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, and we will talk to you next week. As always, you know when to find us, where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.